You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various...
Support Unsealed, but you can see that again in your description. So however you are watching or listening to this program right now, please say hello wherever you are, whoever you are, whether you're a long-time listener or a first-time caller, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or X, even Instagram and Twitch today. Yay, fun times. If you are watching live, you are free to ask whatever you'd like or just make a comment or question or suggestion, as long as it's not vulgar. Don't curse. Be nice. On topic, if at all possible, that would be grand. But you are certainly welcome to participate. And you can find all the episodes of Unsealed going back to the beginning at several locations, certainly on our YouTube playlist. Just click on Unsealed. There's a whole podcast playlist of every episode, as well as what we've done basically for the past year, with some exceptions, but many episodes now. I think it's around 30, around there, of UAP or UFO related material, because there's so many angles to it, and ways and things to talk about and things to research and things to, bat around as with the audience here, especially if you're a Christian person and this is not a thing you usually like to talk about or allowed to talk about, or you're supposed to think certain things just reflexively and without thinking about it at all, or challenge, right? And it's kind of consigned into the loony bin, but now it's not. And this thing, hey, good morning, bondservant. Maybe it's not morning where you are. Maybe you're on the other side of the earth and it's already tomorrow. Woo! I'd love to hear from you as well. So as our dear sister Adam Rex already said on X, I agree with this. It would even pained me a little bit to type this title. Why should anyone care? Why should you care about nuclear site incursions? Well, as she said, if you don't care immediately after reading the last 3 words of that sentence, there might not be much hope for you. I feel the same way, clearly. Nuclear site incursions, not an incursion is not innocuous. It's not something that you can just write off. And I'm not kidding. More than once. I wish I was kidding. But I'm telling you, more than once over the past couple of weeks, when I've just shared the latest info or some history about these incursions and whatever, not kidding at all, more than one person has come back and replied and said, "Why should I care? Tell me why this matters." I'm like, what? How is that even a sentence? So first of all, okay, I'm going to tell you why. 3 different angles. Okay? Approach this however you want. Just as a human being. Oh, by the way, you'll notice the piece of merch I have on today. You can see the scroll below for what that's about. And I've done all I'm going to do, I think, about this. We've got a small website put up. We got an email address. And I've got this shirt. That's it. Okay? If it's meant to be, other people will make it, join it, make it happen. UAP Council. Okay. First of all, if you're a human being, you know the most destructive weapons in the history of our of mankind that we've ever made, as far as I know, are nuclear weapons. And as a person who appreciates and studies history and geopolitics, and there's something I've always been interested in. When I was a little kid, I was freaked out and interested about the Cuban Missile Crisis, for example, right? And even those weapons at that time, and that was the early 1960s, the destructive power of nuclear weapons then were far, 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 like exponentially larger and worse than what we had dropped on Japan, less than 20 years before that. And they're far worse now. So how could you take the attitude of, I don't care what is flying around nuclear sites? Have you heard about Chernobyl? 3 Mile Island? And these are just Fukushima. And those are just power plants. Those aren't weapons sites. Right? We know that they can hurt you. They can hurt generations. They can give you cancer. And that's just the leaky power plant, guys. Obviously, the awesome and terrible destructive power of nuclear weapons. So everything about them should be safe and secure, right? And not being invaded or watched or flown over or spied on by people who don't control them, right? Duh. Isn't that a no-brainer as a human being? We don't want something to happen to them, right? To go off accidentally, or to have its, the chain of command is broken somehow, or you don't know what happened to your stuff. Where is it? Who launched that? It blew up underground, right? I mean, we have missiles in silos. I don't think this is a national secret. We have multiple silos throughout the United States under our ground right now with nuclear missiles, armed and ready to go, literally right this second. Like, you don't care about that? You don't think it's a big deal? Or the nuclear submarines that we have literally all over the world, in the oceans, in every ocean? Not nuclear powered submarines with nuclear warheads on them. One submarine is enough to destroy an entire nation. And we have many of them. And that's just America. Okay. What about the nuclear bombers? Those are airplanes with nuclear weapons in them. We have lots of those, and they're probably in your state. Either the planes themselves, or the bombs themselves, or the construction, or the materials, some kind of... If you're an American, if you love America, why the heck would you not? Okay, so number one, human beings don't want nuclear explosions, okay? Right? Or other weapons to not be in total, complete, 1000% control. Even if we need to have them, if we all get rid of them all, I think that would be good. I think everyone would agree, good. But since they're around, make sure they're safeguarded. No accidents, nobody who doesn't own them should have any... go away. Right? Okay. That's a human level. Number two, the patriotic American level. If you're a patriotic American, if you're a MAGA person, if you just love your country, and again, I'm talking to my people, okay? My people. I'm an American. I like it here. I know the blessings that we have. It's almost unprecedented. So yes, if this is the basically the main way we defend our country, or the threat of them, just it's a deterrent, right? That's what we used to say. It's a nuclear deterrent. Don't mess with us because look at the stuff we will shoot you with. All right. And that's held off basically many potentially wars or even worse wars than we've had because of this deterrence. Or maybe it stopped Russia in times past from doing something stupid because they know we would hit them instead or back, and that would be that. So it's a deterrent. Okay, that's great. Again, why would I care if non-American things are flying around my nuclear sites? And again, I'm not talking about, yes, power plants, yes, weapons facilities, launch sites, silos, bomber ranges, you name it, test sites where we're testing new weapons. All of those things, not one or two, all, and not once or twice, all of those sites, many times over many years, have all been incurred or been incursed upon. There have been incursions by UFOs there. Those are facts. It's not a joke. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's not wackadoodle. It's a fact. It's been going on in front of your face. There's videos, lots of videos. There's documents, lots of documents, official documents. There's congressional testimony, lots of it. On the record. Are you asleep? Have you missed this, patriotic American? Yeah, you have, probably. So your average person listening or watching right now, you have no idea what's going on. And that's not nobody's fault but yours. Yours. Don't ask me to do your homework for you. I mean, honestly, that's what I felt like when people are, I'm posting this news stories or, what's the history of it or whatever. And the only reply, by the way, social media is really great and terrible for things like this, which is somebody I've never talked to in years and I've never met in real life, all of a sudden takes it upon themselves to criticize me. Why don't you explain why this is important to me? Why don't I explain why it's important to you? Were you one of those guys or gals who cheated on the test by looking at the student next to you? That's what I felt like. A little summer tea recharge here. Right? That's what it seems like. Do my homework for me. Tell me why I should care. Like, you know what? I guess that's what I have to do today. Okay, so we've got the human being level. You don't want to be nuked. You don't want your children to have nuclear winter, fallout, and cancer, okay? Obviously. You don't want nuclear weapons fired off for no reason. Okay, now as an American, you want to protect these things. If you must have them, protect them and make sure nothing is around. And if anything, it's common sense. And it's a policy, right? If anything that's not authorized to be there, I can't just walk into a nuclear facility. I'm an American citizen, and I don't want to set off nuclear bombs. But I don't want to spy on anything. But if I walked into a facility, I would be turned around, wouldn't I? Wouldn't I? Very nicely, probably not nicely, actually, with the barrel of a gun in my back, told to get out. God forbid, right? Of course. God forbid I were to be flying a drone in that area, anywhere around. What do you think would happen to me? Not only would my drone be shot out of the sky, I would probably be arrested. And I'd be charged with stuff, right? And again, I'm not debating. I mean, I wouldn't even fight it. Of course, yeah, I did that. Stupid me. Of course I knew this would happen. I would expect it to happen. That's the policy. That's why the military is there. That's why the JSOC is there all around the Department of Energy sites. What's JSOC? Special Operations Command, Joint Special Operations Command, Special Forces, not even just regular Army. Do you understand? And again, you can't debate that. Really, you can't say, well, okay, I get it. This is this is the highest level stuff, right? This is the most important thing we have to protect in terms of physical things. Basically, right? Unless there's, I don't know, crashed UFOs somewhere. Let's put that aside. But right, you as a patriotic American, you better darn well care about anything and anything, everything, anybody, everybody who would dare to fly stuff over, in, around our secret sites with our nuclear weapons. That's crazy not to care. Who are you? You don't. If you don't care about that, you don't care about your country. Sorry, you don't. You're a fraud. You're not a patriot. Someone likes to post on social media and put flags in your yard, but you don't care anything about the nation. Really. So, okay, I've appealed to you as a human being. I've appealed to you as a patriotic American, if you are one, or fill in your country, and if you have nuclear weapons in France or England or India, Russia, China, Israel, Canada. Okay, all that. That applies to you as well. You would be a phony patriot if you didn't care about these things. But anyway, now we have repeated, constant, not only over the days or weeks or months or years or decades of incursions of UAPs. What is that? And by the way, they pay attention. They'll never say UFO. They'll never UAP now. That used to be okay, but now it's drones. Now, because they are so afraid of you knowing and freaking out that now it's all drones. And they have some kind of abbreviation. I forget not UAV even. There's some other kind of whatever. The word drone is meant to calm your little sheepy nature. Oh, a drone. I know drones. They're just, that's nothing to worry about. Huh? We shot down a balloon and made a huge international incident with China over a balloon that was thousands and thousands of feet in the air. You're talking about a metallic drone that we don't even know what it does or where it came from or where it's going or what its capability is, literally right over, not thousands of feet up, right over nuclear sites, nuclear missile silos. I'm not even getting into the fact that they're actually changing things when they're there. Just so happens that, controls are turned off or activated or disabled by these drones 40 years ago, 50 years ago. When I was a little itty bitty baby, one of the biggest, scary cases of all time happened at silos in the Northern Plains by these drones. Okay? That's why you should care if you're a patriotic American. And number 3, I'm sorry for those of you who are not Christians, but I am, and I care a lot about being a Christian, honoring my Lord and his church. Okay, his believers. I don't care what denomination you're from. As a Christian, why should you care? How would you not care? We're talking about life and death. We're talking about mass destruction. We're talking about heaven and hell, destinations of souls. Where in the Bible, where in the scripture, where in your God's word to you are you allowed to ignore things like this in your world? What, are you too busy spreading the gospel? I doubt it. No offense. Even if you're a full-time evangelist, how could you not care about this? It's ridiculous. It's insane. That's why I said it. Even to write it, it's ludicrous. Why should I care? And just to wit, okay, as we go here, to wit, just happened. Sorry for the audio, folks, but I'm pulling up the latest reporting from Dustin Slaughter, who's an independent guy, because no one else will dare write about this. UAP incursion at Pantex nuclear facility revealed a newly released document. Where do you think this newly released document came from? They just released it because they felt like it and they thought the public should know. The incursion raises serious questions about the security of some of America's most sensitive sites. It's also not the first time that anomalous objects have been seen at the nuclear weapons facility. That means this one. Pantex plant. There it is. You see it? That site has had multiple UAP, drone, UFOs, whatever you want to call it. It's the same, usually silver balls, things at that same place. Not one time in one place, multiple times at multiple places, including multiple documented cases at this place. They make nuclear bombs there. A recently released U.S. Department of Energy report, and of course it's the DOE because it's nuclear. Anything the word nuclear is DOE. Can't know nothing about it. You're too stupid to know. That's how they treat you. Department of Energy report indicates that security personnel at Pantex nuclear weapons facility near Panhandle, Texas, witnessed an unidentified object September 12th, 2nd, 2015. September 2nd, 2015. So this is recent. 9 years ago. Those darn Chinese drones, right? That's what we're blaming, the Chinese drones. The report obtained by the UAP register, that's this guy writing, through the Freedom of Information Act. In other words, they didn't release it so you would know. The government's not interested in you knowing this. It had to be FOIA'd. And FOIA, F-O-I-A, Freedom of Information Act, usually doesn't give you nothing anymore. It's not that good. It's very weak. Raises serious questions about the security of some of America's most sensitive energy and weapons facilities. The document also draws the Department of Energy further into the ongoing debate over what the federal government knows about the existence of UAP. The Pantex facility, originally constructed as a conventional bomb plant in 1942, now plays a significant role in the production and disassembly of U.S. nuclear weapons. And is considered highly sensitive national security site by the federal government. So why on earth would you ever permit anything to fly around there? According to the report, Pantex security personnel were alerted to an object described as a, quote, diamond-type shape, with it being more round at the top. So that's not a sphere. That's actually a little different looking thing. Personnel were then dispatched to, quote, follow it and obtain as much information about it as possible. Here's the actual document with everything redacted except for the sentence of the object as it was a diamond-type shape with it being more round at the top. And everything else redacted. Following the incursion, the object continued traveling north of the Pantex plant. Security followed the unidentified object for several miles before it was, quote, no longer visible. The incident, does that mean it got too far away? Does that mean it sped off? Or does that mean it just disappeared into the nothingness? Which, by the way, I have seen. The incident was notable not only for the highly sensitive nature of where it occurred, but also because there is other documented evidence besides the trained observers present during the situation. According to the report, and there you see most everything is redacted. In other words, even though you get a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. Oh, yes, sir, ma'am. Here's your document that will show you we're not hiding anything, and 90% of it's still blacked out. This guy got thing that is not hardly readable, but here's the good stuff. According to the report, this object was also tracked by ground radar and photographed by personnel at a nearby radar tower, likely located at Rick Husband Amarillo International Airport. So wait a minute. Wait a minute. You have a security guy or team or somebody chasing it around. Okay, well, they made it up, or they were mistaken, or they had a bad day, or they're just making it whatever. Nope, because radar saw it, and we have pictures. According to the report, images of the object were subsequently analyzed by the Energy Department's Sandia National Laboratories. Whatever conclusions were drawn from this data about the object and incursion are not known. The images in the report were redacted, alleging the need to, quote, protect unclassified controlled nuclear information. We are so screwed, you guys. If you can redact and remove unclassified information. Classified, fine, you hide behind that. But it's not even classified. And you're still not allowed to see it. Because you're too stupid. There you see the multiple pages of redaction with literally nothing on it. Ground surveillance radar tracks, redacted. Image from ground surveillance radar tower, redacted. UAP Register, this author has appealed for the release of these redacted images, is filing another request for additional analysis from Sandia, and is considering litigation to make more data public. Thank God somebody's trying to sue. Department of Energy did not respond to repeated requests for comment, including whether the investigation into the Pantex incursion remains open, and if then Energy Secretary Ernest Moniz was made aware of the incident. He's not Energy Secretary anymore. There's a history of diamond-shaped objects of Pantex. Remarkably, the 2015 incursion may not have been the first time. According to the reports submitted to the National UFO Reporting Center by former employees of the facility, these incidents were equally dramatic. And here you have more to read about this, if you care. This is going back to the 1950s. Those darn Chinese drones in 1950. 1957 newspaper article. There you go. Anyway, go read about it if you want. Other Department of Energy sites. Jennifer Granholm, who is the current Energy Secretary. If you missed this was just in May. Was grilled by a member of the House UAP caucus with a series of questions. And yes, if you haven't seen this, go watch it. Here's a YouTube clip of it. There has been a documented sightings of metallic spheres over DOE facilities, if you want to call them drones in this instance, such as one report April 30th, 2019. Obviously, that's not that long ago either. Over Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. What investigations have been conducted into these sightings, and what conclusions do you have about the nature and origin of these objects? And the stupid answer was, I'm happy to follow up with you on that. Yeah. Anyway, go on if you'd like. There's more pictures. There's videos. There's more info. Again, if you care. Maybe you just don't. Maybe after all that, you just don't care. You just can't be bothered to care. Because why? It would shake up your world. You'd have to reconsider what is real, what's crazy. Maybe. I mean, hopefully I'm demonstrating how to do this in a Christian way and for it not to blow up your theology. I don't know why it would. I mean, personally, I don't understand why it would, but I know that's a concern. That's why we need to talk about it. Okay? So as just a human being, as a patriotic American, as a Christian person, why would you not care? There's literally zero reasons not to care. It's more important, this type of thing, just being on a physical, everyday kind of Joe level. Is there anything more important? I don't care who the president is. I don't care what party's in control. I don't care any particular issue. If there are unknown objects flying over my nuclear sites, why the heck don't I know about it? And why are they not being shot down? And what are you not telling me? All of those are unfortunately open questions. And unfortunately, again, as a Christian, as a pastor, yes, I am, just so you know how serious I do take this stuff. The best you're going to get from a lot of people like me is it's demons. It's demons. It's demons flying over my nuclear weapons? For what? Why are they interested in that? They're not using them. They're not, you know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Anyways, so if those are not good enough reasons, I don't know. I mean, I guess we can continue the conversation in some other track or whatever, but let's see what you guys think. I really don't. I try to understand many points of view on a lot of things. I mean, everything I can. Okay, well, I may not agree with you, but I understand why you think that, or I get the logic or the thought behind it or the tradition behind it, all of that. Okay, I really try. But this I don't. I can't. I mean, I can't. I do try, but there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no reasons. No good reasons. Okay. Bondservant, hello, about 30 minutes ago now, says, I'm more concerned about those tactical localized bombs. Well, you're talking about the nuclear weaponry itself, like strategic versus tactical, bigger or smaller yields. And I mean, we're talking about all of it. These facilities create them and take them apart and store them and launch them. So no matter what you're concerned about, how big or what permutation of the weapon that it is, it's all included. Madam Rex says nuclear weapons suck. Yes, they do. Indescribably terrible thing that they exist. It's Cain and Abel. Just can't quit it. Hey, Claudia. Yes, Yeshua is the Lord. Watching from Romania. Yes, vacation time. Praise God. It would only blow up weak theology. I mean, again, I agree with you, but apparently a lot of people have weak theology, sister. A lot. I mean, really. If UAPs can mess with major nuke sites, can you imagine them doing a localized situation? Well, apparently, I mean, the history of it, and yes, there's lots of reading material on this, lots of documentation, histories that you can read. They have, if you believe the history on it, UFOs have not only been doing this for a long time, consistently, not just in America, and ongoing, but they've demonstrated the ability to both turn on and turn off nuclear firing systems. neither of which should be possible. So Americans and the Russians know about this. It's happened in both countries, or to both arsenals. At least once in Russia, probably more. And that doesn't count the tons of attempts at shooting them or chasing them with our jets. That never works. Just because they either fly away or disappear, or they jam our plane stuff and our ships. You can think that's nonsense. You can think that's made up. I don't care, but that's the true history of it. People on board the ships and the planes tell you that it is true. And who are you to say they're lying? So, yes, it's really not a question in my mind, bondservant, about like they've exhibited, or at least tried to demonstrate, it seems, they have total control, or trying to give that impression over our worst technologies and weapons. Whoever they are, I don't pretend to know. I don't know who they are, where they come from, or what their intentions are, or if there's more than one group of them, all of which are possibilities. But whatever it is, has shown they're flexing. And maybe, and common sense would probably say this is the reason why your government is not telling you any of this, and why you are being lulled to sleep, and it's your fault for going to sleep on this, dear citizen, is because we already know there's nothing we can do about it. That's why we don't shoot them, because we can't bring them down. And we know what they can do if they feel like turning off our stuff. So we're just going to pretend it doesn't exist and hope they go away. That's the best scenario or summary that I could get. It's a terrible story. I mean, it's a terrible scenario. Certainly not. It doesn't align with statements of since the country began, or anything like that. Anyway, that's the best as I got. Hey, Sarah, smart lady over here for sure, says, have you been watching Annie Jacobson doing the rounds on podcasts about her book on nuclear war? I have. And I wouldn't mind getting that book if it wasn't so far down on my reading list. I mean, like, I'm really in a backlog. So Annie Jacobson has, for several years now, approached these topics of nuclear war. Her latest one, it gives a scenario. It says of how nuclear war would happen, and a very, what seemed like a minor situation, incredibly fast because of the protocols and the responses that are already built into American doctrine about nuclear warfare, that if anything's ever launched at us, ever, from whatever place, we go full on. And there's no way out of that. That's her point in the book. And it basically would take a couple of days to destroy every major city in the world. Kind of like Independence Day, the movie, only without the aliens. So I don't know if that's true. I mean, obviously we've never experimented on that, never tested that. You think, oh, well, we're too smart for, that'll never happen, blah, blah. Well, we have crazy ding-dongs like North Korea, and that's what her book talks about. If there's a North Korean launch, it's not from China, it's not from Russia. North Koreans might not even accept the blame for it. It's one ICBM launched from North Korea to California. That's it. And it's all downhill from there. So yes, I have got a couple of hours worth of content from her on that, and with her new stuff, which the book before this, or maybe it wasn't a book, I don't know, but she wrote a book about UFOs a while ago, and now has been she's been deprogrammed by someone or a group of someone's, because now she thinks UFO sightings are just secret US tech all of a sudden, and gives the really terrible evidence of that as being some people used to see the U-2 spy plane and think that was a UFO. I mean, again, like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I'm sure somebody saw it and didn't know what it was, but it's an airplane. It looks like a friggin' airplane. Even the most advanced stuff that we got today looks like airplanes. Yeah, okay, they're more triangular than they used to be, but so what? We know it's a plane. It's not a ball. It's not a disc. It's not doing crazy stuff that we can't explain. So someone's got to her on this and really made it clear that you are not to say that we don't know what these are. Slightly off topic. That book on the moon evidence. Okay, here we go. There's a bunch, by the way, and a bunch of documentaries on this. That book on the moon evidence shows structures held up by some force field or something. It is concerning that type of tech is here, and that gives great concern. These UAPs. In other words, you really had to, if you really are serious about it and are open-minded about, not open-minded in a bad way, but willing to look at things that you might make you uncomfortable, which is, there's a lot of anomalous stuff on the moon, and always has been. And there are lots of pictures and evidence and communications about what's going on there. Anyway, to your point, if something like that, it seems to be way more advanced than anything we've seen or demonstrated here. If that's where they're coming from, or if that's the type of things we're dealing with, we won't have any answer to them, no matter what they want to do to us in terms of militarily. That's true. So again, as a believer, as a Christian, we know there's more to this world than that. Okay, so you're blown up in a nuclear bomb, detonation, or a war with God knows what. Everyone's going to die sometime. Right? Okay, for that, I get. We're not of this world. Got it. Our true home is in, heavenly New Jerusalem, not any nation here because it hasn't come yet. Obviously, I agree with all that. But there's a big distinction between realizing that as a believer and saying, I don't care about all this incursions and nuclear weapon stuff. It's not Christian, honestly. It's like, you think Jesus is cool with you not caring? He's not. Innocent people are involved in it. Souls are going to not go to heaven because you didn't care if something goes wrong. You know what I mean? And by the way, this very blatant lying about it and covering it up, Department of Energy and whatever else, these are supposed, most of the time, a lot of the time, supposed Christians doing the cover-up. Lying on purpose. If you want to talk about not okay with Jesus, that's not okay. Enforcing or, lying to because you were told to, as if it doesn't fly on Judgment Day. He said you're accountable for every single word. Anyways. Yes, bondservant, that's exactly true. We are not of this world, but we will return with Jesus to help restore the earth. Yes, that is the crazy, kooky Christian reality. Yes. And it's going to have to go through some major shaking, all right, before we get there. We know that. God will do it some points, and some things he will allow. And I think how that looks, the reality of that, shaking everything that can be shaken, that's Bible. That doesn't mean he told us specifically everything about that shaking that will happen. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of Christians say, oh, where's this in the scripture? You know, where's the UFOs in the Bible? That's a defense mechanism of, I don't have to worry about it because it's not in there. Or at best they say, oh, well, obviously it's demonic because God didn't talk about it. What? God didn't talk about a lot of things in the Bible. He didn't ever talk about us going to Mars. Well, we have. I mean, no person has set foot there yet, but they want to. And we have rovers there. We have machines, cars on it. Right? We put people on the moon. That's not in the Bible. Is it? So I'm just saying, everything being shaken doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to tell you all the details about it. He's going to tell you what you need to know and what I need to know. Unlike human beings, God can be trusted with the need to know thing. Man cannot. This UFO issue about nuclear sites, for example, proves that. Man cannot be trusted. We need as Bondservant says, we need as believers to persist in asking the Lord what these UAPs, etc. are, I believe. Like the widow who persisted or who pestered the wicked judge. Maybe I'm naive, but I think we should, instead of assuming, well, no doubt, we should be seeking our Father's input on everything all the time, especially things that are mysterious that we don't get, but yet seem to be here, seem to be part of our world right now. How do we deal with that? How do we approach it in the gospel light? How dangerous is this situation? How much should I be, actively concerned? But to have no concern is just ridiculous. Yep. Claudia, many lies. Yes. Much deception in this era of time. Yes. Unidentified flying rockets hit Children's Hospital in Ukraine. It's not unidentified. The Russians did that, Claudia. They even know what type of missile it was. That was Mr. Putin shooting Children's Hospital. By the way, not new. He's done that throughout Syria for years, and now he's doing it in Ukraine because it's the way you break the will of your enemy. He's not any kind of moral hero, Christian, or anything like that. He's wicked. And he's doing wicked things. I mean, the heart is desperately wicked of all men, but some people have terrible weapons and use them to kill innocents on purpose. That's a problem. Right. Claudia says they say Ukraine did. Of course, there's a funny, but not so funny expression on Twitter or X, right? A couple of years ago after this invasion, that whatever Russia denies, it's true. Right? If Russia denies it, it's true. They say we didn't hit that hospital. Yes, they did. That's just the way they're operating right now. I mean, that's what you get with Antichrist leaders. I mean, and real bad ones, okay? Not just who you disagree with or think are bad, like Western leaders. These are guys who are actually invading and killing innocents on purpose and shooting some of their worst stuff into another country, right? America doesn't, not right now, it's not doing that. England, France, or whoever, even Iran's not doing it. They're supplying the drones to attack Ukraine, for example. Anyway, the point is, there's no way to excuse. Don't believe anything Russia says right now under this dictator. Literally nothing. Nothing. This is not confusion. This is just flat out wrong, evil lies. That's it. Okay, we're not going to talk about this anymore. All right, guys, this is enough for today. I sure appreciate your input, those who have chimed in here. I do love you in the Lord, and today is the day of salvation. No matter what you think about this issue, get right with God, repent at the cross of Jesus. He will accept you. You will be forgiven immediately, completely, and unconditionally if you follow him. Okay, easy enough. But regardless of your soul situation, I and you should be very, very concerned and care a lot about these nuclear site incursions. So until next time, this is Wings of the Eagle with Unsealed.